It's time to dive beneath the surface and into the minds and hearts of your favorite celebrities and pop culture icons. Welcome to Up and Adam.
Hi, how are you?
Oh, how are you?
I'm doing great. So, Mary, thank you again. This was such short notice, and I really appreciate you taking the time, jump in on this call with me.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for having me.
Of course. So, Mary, for anyone who hasn't been watching TLC's 90 Day Fiance, or even if they have, we don't get to hear a lot of your backstory. So I just wanted to kind of take this moment to get to know you a little bit better.
What would you like to know?
Are we from Tennessee?
Not originally, no. I was born and raised in Lafayette, Louisiana, moved here when I was about 9. We moved around quite a bit. We settled in Tennessee. My parents were gypsy hippies. I think that's the best way that I can describe them. So they kind of kept us going up until about 9 or 10. So.
I think you mentioned this on the show, but are you Cherokee Indian?
I am Blackfoot and Sioux. So my dad was part Cherokee, but mostly I'm registered with the Blackfeet Nation.
All right, that's amazing. And then also, obviously since we don't get any information on you, you're in Knoxville now, but what do you do? What is kind of like an average day in the life for Mary? Job, kids?
Yeah, I have a job. Yeah. I'm a nurse. I work at a local hospital here. I have 2 children. I have a 17-year-old girl and I have a 10-year-old boy. My day consists of pretty much getting up, getting everything ready for the day for them. Then I go to work and I come home and I cook and I clean and occasionally I'll read a book or I'll paint. I have a little herb garden out back that I tend to. I actually have a chicken in the oven right now with all the herbs. So yeah.
You're busy.
Yes, very busy, very.
None of us know that you're a parent. We don't know. I couldn't even imagine you having a 17-year-old daughter.
20 years old when I had her.
What do your kids think about seeing you? I mean, obviously they've seen the show, right?
My daughter and son, so my son didn't even know that we were filming, doing any of it. He had no idea. And then it was on TV one night with his father, which is my ex-husband. And they were watching it and he was playing his video game and he looks up and he goes, Dad, is that Mom? So he had no idea. He was just kind of, aside from himself, I was like, my mom's on TV. Is this real? And of course, my daughter knew a little, but she is more worried, of course, about her appearance and how it looks to her friends and the backlash that she gets because, who being made fun of for a 17-year-old is just the worst,
I guess piggybacking off of that, how do your kids feel about Geoffrey?
They've known Geoffrey for a long time. Callie loves him to death. My son adores him. He tries to keep up with Geoffrey in every possible way. So Geoffrey works out a lot, as most of you know. So when Geoffrey, if we visit or if we're hanging out or whatever, my son is usually trying to keep up with because his boys work out with him too. So he kind of idolizes them. He keeps up with them, or if Geoffrey's running around in the backyard, he wants to be right on his heels. He loves him to death. So.
Oh, that's awesome. We get to meet you in the kind of friend setting, and you just put it out on the table. You were like, "Why not me?" It was bold. There's a lot of negative energy. Varya shows up. You're just kind of. It always seems like you're kind of being pushed at second best. That's what it comes off to the fans. So. I guess what I want to ask you is, how do you feel about
that? So I'm going to start by saying, at the very beginning, when we were sitting at dinner, I think what you guys need to know is, Geoffrey and I have been friends for a very long time, and we do have some inside jokes. So anytime that happens, or if we know or find out that the other one is dating someone, we always say something like, well, why am I not good enough? Or so I kind of started saying that in a very joking manner at dinner that night, and it kind of got put in there. And it's not that I didn't mean it. I did, but in a very joking, just kind of putting it to the side, just kind of laying it out there. But it was an inside joke to begin with.
Right.
And the longer that it went on, I'm just like, wow, well, I'm single. What happens if I start dating someone? And then it kind of spun from there. But at the same time, hey, if it was going to work with him when he went over there, I was going to support that. That was absolutely something that I was going to do. So as far as being a rebound, I don't feel as if that's what we were doing. I know how it is portrayed on the show, but I have always said that I will put Geoffrey's feelings first, and whatever he wants to do, I'm never going to put what I wanted to do out there so much that it would infringe on him or his freedoms. That's not okay, because I wouldn't want someone to do that to me. So I still don't feel like a rebound. So, I mean, at what point does a new relationship become not the rebound anymore, you know?
I think it goes back to when I said before, sometimes I feel like it's clever editing. And I think that's production's job, you know, to paint whatever picture sells the story. So unfortunately, when you sign up for it, you're kind of collateral.
Kind of, I guess. And I never really thought much about it in the beginning that it would be collateral. But once I kind of saw, I was like, yeah, I see what's going to happen here. And I knew that it was not going to look good on me after that first little part was filmed. I'm like, oh no, I said some things that could have been turned 50 different ways. So I get it. Yeah, definitely clever editing.
And then now just kind of moving forward to when we see you on last week's episode, you know, you're kind of right there behind Geoffrey when he opens the door. When Varya showed up, just lay it on me. Honestly, we see your reaction, but you were so respectful. And I'm from Tennessee. I'm from Chattanooga, Tennessee. And, you know, I know in the South, you know, we respect everyone until you kind of keep crossing that line. And then you're going to ask for the firecracker. It's going to pop off. I get that. But you, the whole time, when she's calling you out of your name, when she's being rude to you, the whole time you were completely polite.
I tried. I really did. It was extremely hard. I didn't know what was happening. I didn't know if this was something that Geoffrey knew and he put me in the middle of it. You have to think I had no idea any of this was happening. I didn't know if Geoffrey set me up. And not that I feel like he's capable of that. I just had so many thoughts going through my head. Did Geoffrey do this? Did the cast do that? Like the producers do this? Did Varya do this on purpose? I didn't know what was going on. So, and at the same time, she came here for Geoffrey. And yes, we were starting a relationship, but at the same time, this woman flew across the country, you know, several countries to be with him. And I'm like, what's going on? How can I don't even know what to say. I mean, that took a lot of guts to do that. So I was floored that she did it. But at the same time, I was so afraid that I was going to cry and have all those people there that I had to leave. And I was so afraid, I was shaking. I didn't know if I could compose myself long enough. And if she kept yelling at me, there's no telling what I would have done.
Right. But the Southern would have come out.
Yes. I was just trying to maintain my composure, to maintain who I am as a person more so than anything. And as I told my mom, I said, you know, Mom, if the cameras weren't there, I have no idea what I would have said or done. I couldn't tell you. If it was just the three of us, I have no idea what I would have done. But I wanted to stay true to me, obviously, too. You know, I have to respect this and I have to walk away. Otherwise, I'm going to end up looking like a complete jerk. And I didn't want that, of course.
I mean, you're level-headed enough to be able to walk away knowing, you know, 6 months from now, we're all going to watch this. And everyone's going to decide for themselves, you know, who's in the right or who's in the wrong. For someone who doesn't have a reality TV background, well played.
Yeah, well, thank you. I appreciate that. It was difficult.
Yeah. We've been getting asked this a lot. A lot of people said, how did Mary not know that Varya was showing up, and how did you not know that the cameras were showing up? Anyone who thinks of reality TV, we feel like all of the cast members are getting mic'd up. Or was it a boom mic hanging over and that's kind of, okay, so it was a boom mic and that's how you completely left in the dark?
Yeah, that's when the only person that had a mic on was Varya. But I remember just this big fluffy thing, you know, the boom mic being just shoved into the door, and it was just like, what is that? And that's kind of where I was like, what is going on? And then I pulled the door open and I was like, I'm sorry, what is going on here? And of course, at that point, we saw the rest. But no, Geoffrey and I did not know. I mean, I have a little video that I'm going to show you guys. I'll probably put it on my Instagram soon, of like kind of behind the scenes of what Geoffrey and I were doing, maybe 5 minutes at tops before they even walk in or we even knew that they were there. And we were just hanging out, having a good time.
Does production just keep in contact with Geoffrey to know that you guys are even going to be there for when Varya shows up? Because surely they wouldn't waste their time, right? I mean, when you think of a production team, there's 6 to 8 people with the boom mic, the cameras.
That's a great point, but that point right there was early in the morning. We were getting ready for brunch at that time, so that's the only reason that I even had my hair done or wasn't in my pajamas, was because we were getting ready to go somewhere. I don't know. I don't remember him talking to them. I don't remember any of that, asking if he was going to be home. The last time that we had talked to them was a few days before that, when we filmed my birthday dinner. So that was like 3, 4 to 5 days ago, no more than a week, because my flowers were still alive. I remember that. But that's the last time that we had seen them, or I had heard from them, was when I filmed and had done all that.
Once we watch that the whole thing play out, we see you walk off, and then you decide, nope, I'm not done. So then you walk back, but you walked back just to get flowers and a card. Was it truly just the flowers and card that you were grabbing? Was that one kind of last mental FU to the whole situation before you could really exit without getting volatile?
Yes. So I grabbed my things because, you know, I did spend the night. So I had my hair things and my clothes from the night before, and my pajamas, of course. But I forgot my makeup bag, and Geoffrey called me a couple of days later and he's like, hey, you forgot your makeup bag. And I don't wear makeup often. So I'm like, so of course I had to go back and get it. But I did. I was walking down there. I'm like, I can't believe this is happening. I'm like, oh my gosh, I forgot my flowers. Because not a lot of people know, obviously, you guys don't know much about me, but I love flowers. So I have several around my house. And if someone gifts me a bouquet, if I can, and if they're able, they're type that you can dry, I hang them up and I dry them and I keep them for the year and I collect them for the year. And then once that year is done, then I'll discard them and we start over. So I didn't want to forget them. So it was important to me that I had them because, you know, they were a gift from him. So I turned back around, grabbed the flowers and grabbed the pictures that we had taken together that we had put up on the refrigerator, and was like, nope, we're done here. And I'm like, that's it. I don't want to talk to you anymore.
You're like, I'm taking my flowers.
Done. Take my flowers and I'm going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We saw you on the first episode, and then we see you when Geoffrey comes back. He goes on a date. How did you even pick up talking when he came back and he was, you know, his proposal was rejected by Bart?
So you guys don't see a lot of that. Geoffrey and I talked every day. You know, like, how's it going? Tell me what you're seeing. Da, da, da. He sent me hundreds of pictures the entire time that he was there. So he's super excited about his entire trip. And of course, you know, I'm the friend, and like, tell me what's going on. Tell me, because I want to see Russia. Who doesn't want to see another country, you know? So I'm like super curious, and he tells me what's going on. So then of course, when he calls, and I'm like, well, how did it go? And he comes back and he tells me when he's landing and all of those things. There are several dinners and drinks and conversations and, you know, hanging outs and let's go do this or let's go do that between the time that he came home and then we had the dinner, the birthday dinner, several. So it wasn't just like we just popped in, he comes home and voila, you know, that there was lots of times that we were hanging out. You guys have to remember, we're friends. We did that before Varya. We did that while he was married to his exes or with other girlfriends because we're friends. So it wasn't abnormal for us to continue that relationship. Like, hey, how you doing? What's going on? That's what friends do. We tell each other what's going on in their lives. So I knew that he had asked, and I knew that she had declined.
It was stated on the first episode that, you know, you guys dated multiple times and that it may not have worked out in the past, obviously, because Geoffrey's going to Russia. But this time, because we don't know, did Geoffrey pick you? Did he pick Varya? We don't really know what's to come. What made this time different for you?
I think Geoffrey, his sincerity. And he was like, you know what? I should have just listened to you at the very beginning. And, you know, even before he was talking, or before I knew that he was talking to Varya, he had asked, like I said, we had those little inside jokes or whatever. So he'd always say, well, are you dating? I'm like, no, not really. I'm not really ready right now. And, or it's like, you know, I'll go out here or there, but there's just nobody I'm really interested in, or, you know, he would always ask. So I didn't know if he was asking just as what's going on in my life, or if he was wanting to start again, if he was ready, because at one point it was Geoffrey was on a different timeline and he wasn't ready, or I was on a different timeline and I wasn't ready. And several times I'm like, you know what? I don't want to date seriously. I just want to have a good time right now. And he was that way at one point. So we were always just never both ready to settle down at the same time. So then, of course, when he goes and asks Varya, I'm like, oh man, well, he's serious and he wants a life partner now. And I was kind of already headed that direction, which is why I wasn't dating. I wanted to find an actual partner. So then when Geoffrey left and said that he was possibly going to ask her to marry, I'm like, wait a minute. I thought this was just, you know, a little fling. And that kind of triggered some other things.
Other emotions.
Yeah, other emotions later. And, you know, like I said, I pushed those down because if Geoffrey's going to find love, I'm not going to hold him back for it. But of course, yeah, when he came back, I kind of held those down and just listened to him and probed and said, hey, what about this or what about that? Because I needed my questions answered before I could fully let my emotions and like love grow. So I was kind of guarded. People think I just dove right in and like threw myself at him. No, I didn't. I didn't at all. I asked a lot of questions before I said, yeah, we'll be in a relationship.
I guess going from there, you know, you can't tell us too much about next week's episode, and I know that there's contracts and, you know, obviously we all know how this works, but is there any sort of insight? We end off on you coming to, I'm just going to call it a pool hall.
It's a brewery.
Brewery. Okay.
Yeah, HWY is a brewery.
Okay. So you coming to the brewery, that's where we end and we see this conversation take place. But mind you, this is so awkward for us too, to watch as fans, to, you know, when Geoffrey introduces, he's like, you know, I'm taking Varya out with Mary and I's friends, and Mary's not going to be joining us, but she was supposed to be there tonight. Everybody's like, their ass is puckering. We're like, what do you mean you're taking somebody else? And they're all expecting Mary. This is awkward.
Okay. So I'll say this, and I don't know if I'm allowed to say this or not because I haven't been told, but I was invited to go. Not by Geoffrey called me, and, you know, of course, when I left, people were like, why didn't he run after you?
Right.
He had to stay and film, of course, her talking or whatever. He had to listen to her because he owed her that respect. So he had to stay there and talk to her. So he couldn't call me right then, but he called me and he was like, I want you to know, because he finally told me, he's like, I have to call her. So he finally said, give me a minute, because all she wanted to do was talk to him and try to win him back. And he's like, I have to call her. So he called and he apologized. And at this point, Varya said that she wanted to apologize to me and wanted to talk to me. And of course, I was a complete mess. But it ended up that I was invited. The producers asked me if I would at least talk to them and meet them because they wanted to hear my side.
Those
so
your producers.
Yes. So I'm like, of course, that's fine. I'll talk to you. It's fine. I didn't just show up just to show up. I didn't at all. I was invited by Geoffrey and Varya and the producers. So that's a little insight for you guys on the back end.
Right. And then of course you go through your social media and you go on your Instagram and it's like you desperate, I'm not even going to say the names that they call you, but you desperate, whatever, why would you show up? Let them go. Like it's so interesting what people don't understand.
I know. I was like, wait a minute, what are you talking about? I just didn't show up. Everybody knew I was there. So
I have two last questions for you. One is, after rewatching the season, is there anything that you would do different, or do you think that you stayed pretty much true to yourself as much as you could given the circumstances?
No, I don't think I would do anything different. The only thing that I think that I would probably do different is maybe wear my hair down more. People, I don't wear my hair down a lot, mostly because it's such a pain for me to like do all of this. I mean, that's just, I don't do that on a normal daily basis. So I didn't really want to do it on the show. And of course, the filming of the bar and the filming of when Varya was there, I didn't know. So those two things, you know, I couldn't help. But the dinner, where I got such backlash with the coat, I would never change that coat. So that one I would keep. The dress, I understand people have their own different styles, but I would probably wear my hair down a little more just so, I don't know, to kind of cool the backlash now. But as far as what I said, no, I don't think that I would change it. I wouldn't.
You wouldn't take anything back?
There's something coming up that I definitely want to take back. I don't know if they'll show it. I really hope they don't show it. I did.
You don't get to see the episodes in advance?
I don't. No, I don't. I wish I did. But there's something that I say, and if it goes to that, then I'll address it then. But I feel as if I was a little rude to Varya, and I never wanted to be that. I never wanted to lash out, and I feel like I did a little, especially at the house. But when you have hours between what happened there and the bar, because I think there's a preview where we're sitting down and we're talking.
Right.
That is the conversation I'm talking about. There are some things that I said that I definitely regret, and I want to apologize to her for. So that's probably the only thing I would take back.
That was my next question is, we're eventually going to be talking to Varya. So if you had anything to say to her, what would it be? Obviously we've moved past all of this now, and I'm sure you're going to have your chance at the TLC 90 Day Fiance reunion when this pandemic is over, unless it's virtual, but
Yeah. If I had to say anything to Varya, it would mostly be, I respect you. I think you are an amazing person. I definitely respect the fact that you followed your heart. A lot of people don't have that type of gumption to be able to do that. That's phenomenal for you. I do respect her. She is a well-spoken woman in 2 different languages. She's intelligent. That alone says who she is. She is very driven. So for her to be a radio host, for her to do weddings and be a MC, that is amazing. Not many people have that type of personality. I think that she is beyond some of the women that are here. So for that, I do applaud you for that. I do respect you, and I would never want to wish any harm on you, or never want any ill will towards you at all. So
Mary, I appreciate your time, and thank you again so much. This was great. I'm glad that we got to know you a little bit before next week's episode, where we get to see you at the bar. We get to see how that all plays out. And even though I know that you can't spoil too much, I'm glad that you at least had the opportunity to clear things up.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for having me and taking the time as well.
Yeah, of course. Well, have a great night, and stay safe and stay healthy.
Thank you as well. Thank you. All right, bye.
Check us out every Monday and Wednesday. Thanks for watching Up and Adam.